To add two numbers with exponential expressions, check first to see if the powers are the same. If they are, add the numerical parts and bring in the exponential expression as is to the answer. Let's do an example. Add 34.1 times 10 to power 3 plus 9.3 times 10 to power 3. Both powers are 3, then combine 34.1 plus 9.3. Bring in the exponential part of the numbers. Add, it's 43.4 times 10 to power 3. Now look at this answer. Is this in scientific notation? Remember, a number in scientific notation must have a single digit from 1 to 9 to the left of the decimal point. Therefore, this answer is not in scientific notation. Move the decimal point to the left one time. This move will have to reflect on the power of 10. Add 1 to power 3. The final answer is 4.34 times 10 to power 4. Subtraction follows same rules except subtracting instead of adding. Let's do this problem. Subtract 8.1 times 10 to power 4 minus 2.3 times 10 to power 4. Compare the powers. Since the powers of 10 are the same, then go ahead and combine the numbers. And then bring in the 10 to power 4. Subtract 8.1 minus 2.3, it's 5.8. Bring down the 10 to power 4. This answer is already in scientific notation, so it's the final answer. In case of adding or subtracting two numbers with different powers of 10, one number needs to be changed to match the power of the other number. Only then addition or subtraction can be performed as before. Change the power -2 to become 3 in order to match the power of the second number. Changing the power causes the decimal point to move either to the right or to the left. To get -2 to change to 3, 5 must be added to the power, and this will cause the decimal point to move to the left 5 places. Let's try that together. Add 5 to the power and move the decimal point to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. In each of those empty decimal places, put a 0. Now rewrite the first number. It's 0.000081 times 10 to power 3. Now, since powers are the same, combine the numbers. Subtract 0.000081 minus 2.3. Bring in the exponential part. The answer is already in scientific notation, so the final answer is -2.299919 times 10 to power 3. You could choose to change the power 3 to -2 instead. In this case, you'll be subtracting 5 from that power, and will have to move the decimal point 5 places to the right. Follow the same steps from there, and you should get the same final answer. For this question, the powers are different. Choose whether to change power 5 to 3 or 3 to 5. Here, we'll change 5 to 3. To do that, subtract 2 from 5, which means that the decimal point will have to move to the right 2 times. Move the decimal point 1, 2 places. Fill in the empty place with a 0. Now we're adding 510 times 10 to power 3 plus 22.3 times 10 to power 3. Since the powers are the same, combine the numbers and bring in the exponential 10. Add 510 plus 22.3. It's 532.3, and bring down 10 to power 3. This is not in scientific notation, so move the decimal point to the left 2 places to have only 1 digit to the left of the decimal point. Don't forget to add 2 to the power to reflect the decimal point shift. The final sum is 5.323 times 10 to power 5. Multiplying numbers with exponential expressions does not require both powers to be equal like adding and subtracting do. To multiply these two numbers, multiply the numbers and add the powers. Let's do that. Combine the numbers by multiplying 5.1 times 2.3, then bring in the 10 and add the powers 5 and 3. That's 11.73 times 10 to power 8. Change the answer to scientific notation by shifting the decimal point to the left once and adding 1 to the power. The final product is 1.173 times 10 to 9. Let's try 2 more multiplication problems. We start with the one on the left. 12.4 times 10 to negative 4 times 1.5 times 10 to 4. First, multiply 12.4 times 1.5 and bring in 10 and raise it to the sum of powers. 12.4 times 1.5 is 18.6, and negative 4 plus 4 is 0. So the answer so far is 18.6 times 10 to power 0. Change this answer to scientific notation by shifting the decimal point to the left once and adding 1 to the power of 10. The final product is 1.86 times 10 to 1, or times 10. Now let's do the problem on the right. 0.8 times 10 to negative 5 times 8.6 times 10 to negative 6. Again, multiply 0.8 times 8.6 first and add the powers of 10. The product is 6.88 times 10 to power negative 11. It's in scientific notation, so that's the final product. Division follows the same rules as multiplication, except that the numbers are divided instead of multiplied and powers are subtracted instead of added. Let's see how to divide 6.9 times 10 to 9 by 2.3 times 10 to 3. First, divide 6.9 over 2.3, which is 3. Then bring in the exponential expression with subtracting the powers, 9 minus 3. The final answer, which happens to be in scientific notation, is 3 times 10 to power 6. Let's try more problems. Divide 7.5 times 10 to negative 8 by 1.5 times 10 to negative 4. Begin by dividing 7.5 over 1.5, which is 5. Bring down the multiplied 10 and subtract the powers. Negative 8 minus negative 4. The final answer is 5 times 10 to negative 4. For the problem on the right, 13.12 times 10 to negative 7 divided by 4.1 times 10, start by dividing 13.12 over 4.1, which gives 3.2. Then bring in the exponential 10 with subtracted powers, negative 7 minus 1. Remember, the 10 without a written power is understood as 10 to power 1. The final quotient is 3.2 times 10 to negative 8.